All right.
You know they hear about the commish.
Listen.
They ain't going to bed. This really what they've been waiting for.
This is really what they've been sitting around. Like, he said SWAC TV on the title, so I'll try to get to it. SWAC TV. Now, we have our thoughts and opinions, and we'll get to those. But just on the basis alone, Perry, your thoughts, will it work?
For anybody out there, I want it to work. Let's start there. Because there's no reason Scotty and I come on here and we constructively criticize because of what we think should happen within this conference. And when we say what we think should happen is the content. I saw Alex Hines in here. Alex Hines within himself is SWAC TV. Tell me, if you want to find anything from the SWAC, you go to Alex Hines YouTube. You will find a Thursday night game where it was 6 people. You will find a baseball championship. You will find a basketball, whatever you're looking for. So I know it can be done, and that's what we talked about. Why would we have to go to Alex Hines and he has to take the time out of whatever schedule or however he's recorded to do it? Why didn't we do it ourselves, especially when we signed a deal with HBCU Go and with ESPN, who are creating content? But then when the game over, we don't take that content ourselves and then put it under one umbrella. So damn, if I miss the game or if I don't have ESPN Plus, I may just as a fan want to go back and watch it. Because there's certain games I still go back and watch to this day of yesteryears.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the way I feel about this, and we had this conversation of asking, will it work? Question mark. What makes me not feel off the bat it's going to work and it's going to take some time? Because I watch SWAC Digital Media. I watch the SWAC Digital Media Network, SWAC Digital Network doing Media Day. That was an opportunity to roll out the red carpet of this is what SWAC TV is going to look like in terms of commercial spacing, programming. Hey, coming this fall, this is going to be our pregame show. Meet our host and this and that. Be sure to tune in, SWAC TV. Hey, post game, this is our new show. Be sure to tune in the fall, SWAC TV. They didn't roll out anything except the SWAC TV promo, which was a bunch of highlights from a bunch of games from the different athletic sports. For me, that was the perfect time at Media Day to say, get to know who our crews and who our people, because if this is something he said we've been working on 3 years, when you're ready to release that at SWAC Media Day, that is the day we're going to you got the media there.
Yeah.
This is the day now we're going to roll out. This is exactly SWAC TV. This is our pregame show. This is our tailgate show. This is the programming. That was a perfect opportunity to show me that, hey, this is what we've been working on behind the scenes, and these are the people who are going to be working on it. Matter of fact, as I'm the commissioner, get to meet our program director over SWAC TV. Get to meet our content director. That way, then you get to hear from them and talk and then see what the future of this looks like. We got all these, every response was directly from the SWAC commissioner. For me to make it work, to feel like it was going to work, who is in position? I never heard him name the program director. I never heard him name who was over content creation, content director. I don't know right now. Right now it sounds good, but I just think if you was going to roll this out, this was an opportunity to roll it out with names, people in position, and programming for it to be what it's supposed to be in the future instead of just Alex Hines' YouTube channel. Because right now that's what it sounds like it's going to be.
I'm gonna read you what he said. He says SWAC TV has been in the works for 3 years. It is currently available for download on Roku and Apple. It puts every football game we play on some form of TV network, he said. Let me say this. Will it work? I'm on the bandwagon with Perry in saying that I hope it does. I'm hopeful because again, it's not like we haven't talked about that, but we'll get to that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. My issue with it is, are you making a glorified HBCU Go? and let me break this down because I want to give people context in what I'm saying because I don't want to come off is as a hater. I love the premise. I love the idea. I hope it works. But I
What
need you
we're
guys.
doing here, just to clarify for people, this is when you put something on the table and you have discussions.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's to the left, what's to the right? What could go right? What could go wrong? That's all this is.
Okay, let me break it down because this is I just want to give you guys how my brain works, right? Like because people would say really quick that Scotty doesn't like anything the commissioner does, and that's not true. I don't like half-ass thought out ideas because what I'll say is this, right? And I try to keep it. I got it. I try to keep it. I try to keep it. What I like to do is I like to give analogy on what it is, right? If a woman is dating a guy and he shows a pattern of doing something, then that's the pattern that they will expect, or they will treat him in such of the pattern. What I will say is this: the commissioner has been known to focus on headlines without the substance. I'm going to say that again. He's been known to focus on the headlines and not the substance.
Give me an example of that, Scotty.
He jumped on every platform with the SWAC Classic. Me and Perry got on here and talked about it. Me and Mr. Campbell got on here and talked about it. I'll never forget when Perry said, who the hell do you think is going to allow the Southern and Jackson game to be moved to Birmingham? If you want to move it to Dallas. If you want to move it to New Orleans. If that's where, but nobody, I will never forget you saying, Scotty, nobody is going to allow you to move that game outside of home and home. And what transpired? That classic never happened.
And initially it was supposed to be UAPB in Jackson State.
That fell through because Deion said, right? So again, what I'm trying to get you guys to understand is I'm not saying it's not going to work, but I take a pause because if you're telling me you've been working on something for 3 years, he said that. I didn't say that. He said that. I got the video to show it. He said he's working on something for 3 years. And the only thing you can bring to us is the name of the app, and that is going to be football games. But you're telling us pregame shows, studios, game day, but you're not laying out the details. And
they even said it was going to be where they go to the studio where you're going to have the head SWAC football official. And he's going to be making calls on what, like when you watch the NFL and CBS and the rest of the college football, they got the guy and he's, hey, yeah, I don't think that was targeting, from my perspective. And, this is this and that. So we're talking about some major moves that was put into place that he explained that this was going to look like.
Again, listen. I know a lot of you guys are going to give me flack in the comments because a lot of you guys love your SWAC commissioner. And listen, again, it's not.
And they're saying the content is already there, Scotty.
The content of games, or because I haven't downloaded the app.
The content that he's saying is created by the SWAC. He's not saying the content of HBCU Go TV and ESPN. What he was saying was this is going to be SWAC-based produced. What you're saying when I'm seeing people saying the content is already there, that's from ESPN and HBCU Go from their own production. Listening to the commissioner, he basically saying we're going to be in-house producing this. Isn't that what he said?
Yeah.
So the content is not already there. That's HBCU Go's content and ESPN's content.
Let me play the video so they get understanding.
We're going to continue to usher in more and more innovation and more technology. Tolly, we're going to do some pregame shows. We're going to have crews out at games, and we're going to set up, and then we're going to do a whip around. We're going to do specials. We're going to do features. All of this is going to grow. Part of our strategic plan is we're going to have a studio show where we come back into halftime, and we'll go there. We're going to have the coordinative officials in that studio doing the officiating, as you see with the NFL and the NBA and the SEC, where he's now going to be able to communicate in real time with every game at the same time. They do it now, but he's at another site on the phone. We're going to have all of that set up. Again, we're going to be first class in everything we do. And again, another opportunity for SWAC TV to usher in that ability for us to enhance not only the viewership, the exposure, but even our officiating.
Shout out to Fox News for the clip. Now, this is my problem with that, right? Again, if you had been working on something for 3 years, you should be able to tell me what the pregame show is called. You should be able to tell me what the studio show is going to be called. If you're releasing this before the season, roll it out. Like, what have you, because my question is what have you been doing for 3 years? Building an app? It don't take 3 years to build an app.
The season starts in a month. We should be marketing how you market and promote. You don't market the day of the game. Hey, we're going to have this post. This was the time to roll it out and market it. Get to meet the game day crew. Get to meet the content crew. Like I'm saying, and people saying, I keep seeing it over and over. The content is there, is this, is that. But this was an opportunity where you don't leave us room to have this conversation.
You don't.
No, we got room to have the conversation because
Absolutely.
It's still a bunch of question marks.
I think this is the thing. I want to be very clear. It's two parts to what I'm about to say, because I feel like there's a lot that I don't see the money that people think is going to come. And I want to be very clear when I'm saying this, right? Because when I said, are you making a glorified HBCU Go? The reason HBCU Go is I won't say floundering. I'll say they're in between a space, is because they did not put their money into programming and show in networks like ESPN and Fox Sports. You see where they put their money. When Fox Sports first started, they gave the bag to Colin Cowherd and they gave a bag to Skip Bayless because they know programming keeps you coming back time and time again because you want to watch your show. That is the part of this that I feel like the SWAC is going to drop the bag, because what about the SWAC has ever been creative? What about the SWAC has ever, they haven't done a coaches show with Dion. They never did a coaches show with Hugh Jackson. They've never done anything outside of the box other than partnering with Fox News, and Fox News isn't creative. So again, when you're asking me, will it work? I'm like, in what aspect? If you're just talking about putting games behind an app, that will work. You got that. But if you're talking about building an audience, building a generating app of revenue, I do not see it, because they won't believe in the programming of it and building out programming and what it looks like and how it moves, and all those type of aspects have to be a part to make people come back and watch it over and over and over again.
I would have loved to hear, hey, when we had our meetings back in Florida with all the 12 member institutions, we all came together and said we looked at this as mass comm departments across the conference and streaming and everything else in athletic departments. Each school has pledged $100,000 towards mass communication or towards production. So when we work in-house, because let's look at it, damn near every school has their own media team for a band, right? We have partnered with these media teams, also sitting down with our band directors to figure out how can we generate and take that content as well from those bands and use it under the umbrella to create content. We also, these schools have all partnered, like I said before, to invest $50,000 to $100,000. Okay, we're all going to have the same idea. Everybody moving forward, streaming the game. We need this type of camera, this type of equipment. Everybody has to get this type of equipment. That way we look uniformed across the board. When I watch a Mississippi Valley game, it ain't going to be any difference than when I watch the FAMU game, and then from a Prairie View game to a Southern game. Uniform, this is what we look like all together, and every school has pledged to make sure we do that. On top of, with SWAC TV, we're starting a comprehensive intern program that we're going to use students from our member institutions to give them internship opportunities to come in and do broadcast work, camera work, public relations work, social media, whatever the case, where they're going to work directly with the SWAC from the member institution schools in order to build this. We're going to use everything we have from within in order to make this work. That's the type of conversation I want to hear when you roll this out, because how is it benefiting the schools besides you just streaming the game and you got content? How is it going to benefit the students and everybody else that's a part of it? Is it creating opportunity? And first of all, most of all, is it creating jobs to rake in to bring in that money?
Okay. Now let me the hater is gonna come out of me, right? This is the part where people are gonna say I'm hating. The timing is bad. You could say, Scotty, well, it's better late than never. The timing is absolutely ass. You do this when you have a Deion Sanders. You know why you do this when you have a Deion Sanders? Because you don't need to promote anything. You don't have to market anything. You just got to say, Deion's on it. That's it. Deion is your walking advertisement. And if you've been planning this for 3 years, 3 years ago is when you drop it, and then year 2 and year 3 you figure it out. Because you just say, hey, listen, we gonna throw some at the wall, see if it stick. That's what that looks like. You don't do this after all your heavy hitters are gone. It doesn't make any sense. And you're doing it at a time where advertisers are completely out on black content. I'm in these advertising meetings, and this is the part where I got to just be real with y'all. The reason that this SWAC TV app is coming down the way it's coming down is because, look, ESPN is going to drop the ball on HBCU football. It's coming. I'm telling you, it's not nothing. I'm telling you, it's coming. So what they had to do is, I can't be left holding the bag and having nothing when ESPN says, we're done with you, we're good on you, or we don't want to pay you more money. So I had to have something to go get it. Now, people are going to ask me, Scotty, how are they going to make money? Well, when you do an app, listen to me now, I'm in this arena. I talk to developers every single day. I talk to ad guys every single day. When you're in this world of app and development, you got programmatic ads and you got insertion orders. Insertion orders are like the big ads you see with Walgreens or McDonald's or whatever. Programmatic ads is what you see on Hulu, right? Like 10-second this and 10 seconds. That's a programmatic ad, right? When you do advertising video on demand, which is what this app is, you have to make money in programmatic and insertion orders. Again, who is going to come? You talk about, you have these advertisers. Who? You have all black content. Donald Trump is anti-DEI. So what advertisers are going to beat down your door other than what you already have, which is GM, Pepsi, and Cricket? So explain to me how you're going to make tons of money. Why do you think HBCU Go is going through right here, right now? They're going through the same problem. They're not getting money from advertisers to support what they're trying to do. So that's why they're having the hiccups that they're having. I'm telling you, this is 3 years too late. And what should have been done, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to keep saying it, and I'll play the video right after it. This should have been a paid app. I do not care what anybody says. This should have been a paid app. If you telling me that all you ninjas can go pay $11.99 for ESPN, you telling me you can't come over here and pay $9.99 for all the SWAC games you want? Unlimitedly, unlimitless, replay, on demand, old games, new games, programmatic, programming, whatever. You're telling me.
And I think that's where he bit off too much he can chew, maybe in this, where he could have just kept it simple. What they say, keep it stupid simple.
Yeah.
He could have just kept it simple. Hey, right now, all we're focused on is building the foundation. That's just putting the games there and let's start there. But he started adding more and more and more and more and more. And it was like, all right, can we handle that? And if we can, how are we going to fund that? How are we going to pay for these things that if it was that easy, we would have been doing them? I just think it should have just been simple, because while you was adding more and more and more and more and more, you wasn't rolling out anything to back it up. We're going to do these shows where here's the show. That should have been playing all during the commercials.
Dog, that first game day show, whatever you going to bring, that should have been the show. Now, I'm not going to go into my off-script rant because my brother Perry's here, and I don't want him to be associated with my foolishness. And I'll do that at another time about content creators that we somehow have in this space, but then everybody want to act like I ain't the guy and my boy Perry ain't the guy, like we can't do it. But that's neither here nor there. And I'm gonna be honest.
Talking about HBCU TV that miraculously turned into SWAC TV.
Can we play the video? Can I play the video?
You got it.
Give you Bama's the visuals. Give you a little HBCU TV. Okay, now talking and collaborating with my consultant here, we came up with a few things that will be the pillar of HBCU TV. You have your bands, you got the marching, you got the 0 quarter, 5th quarter battle of the bands. You have student content, your probates, your Pretty Wednesdays, your short stories, right? There's guys and girls that are in there that are your future Spike Lees, right? They're your future director X's, right? This is what you're looking for, because what you looking for, I got what you looking anyway. So, if you have these creative people on tap already, why? Let me say this. There's a kid on an HBCU campus, right, that currently can do the exact same thing Country Wayne is doing with his little soaps. I don't want to say little because they make him a lot of money. With his soaps that he does on Facebook. He could do that in his own HBCU campus. There's guys or gals that can do that. In live sports, let me tell y'all this. How would you feel if every basketball game was behind one paywall? Now, Perry, I don't know if you can see it. At the bottom right there, that's a year ago. Not 3 days ago, not 2 months ago. That is a year ago, and literally all they did was erase HBCU and slap SWAC TV on it.
I mean, Jesus, it could have been what you said, SWAC plus, SWAC in demand. Like, it was a plenty. They literally, it just went SWAC TV. Like, come on. Like, how obvious are we tripping to make it, to put ourselves in this position and say, is it obvious kind of where the concept come from?
Let me be very clear. See, I see what somebody's saying. Somebody said, my boy Rod Ton, shout out to him. He said charging $29.99, you'll get 32 subscriptions. And let me explain to you why I went with the price range. Because all of it's not just sports. See, that's what you're missing. The reason we could charge more for HBCU TV because it's SWAC and MEAC, all the bands, student content, and live sports. It's not just SWAC. It was a merging of the two to get everything HBCU underneath of it. So $19.99 would have been nothing. It would have been nothing. I pay $89.99 for YouTube TV.
And I thought y'all support y'all black colleges. Now we got question marks. We can't support black colleges spending $30. We can't spend $30 to support a black college.
That's crazy to me.
It's not just one. It's the whole damn company. Come on, bro.
And then I also said in this same, and we also said in the same one is that you could then, the pricing would have differed depending on how much you got, right? So if you just wanted bands, the bands was going to cost you a price. If you wanted just no different than a bundle that Disney does with ESPN, right? So if you get ESPN and Hulu, if you get ESPN, Hulu, and this, it's all the same thing, and you had to be in the same price range. So, yes, if it wanted to be $15.99, $14.99, $19.99, it did not matter. My only thing is you should have made people pay for this app because they were already used to paying for ESPN to watch the games.
And you know who else using this content? Go to look at those HBCU Instagram pages. You know what I'm talking about? Like HBCU Pride Nation, HBCU Buzz, and all that. What they doing? They just clipping content from people at HBCUs where you see somebody in the cab, where you see somebody on a strolling outside or whatever they union. Just go at any given time, people. Just go scroll those HBCU Instagram pages and just look at all the content that they're just clipping from all over the place. They're not there creating that content. They're just basically secondary. You create it, we'll use it. And we'll push it out there and get thousands of likes and shares and everything else. So my whole point is, just like they're using it, there's content creators everywhere around all of these schools. To where if you put this under one umbrella, you telling me $30 to support it is too much for you to support it. But we're talking about support here. We didn't say $100. We're talking about $30, and that's a problem. If $30 is a problem, then we got a problem overall. Well, this is just some shit we shouldn't be doing anyway. Because clearly there's not going to be an audience for it. But the SWAC see us an audience just like we see us an audience for it. There are people out there who just simply watch band videos all day.
All day.
There are some people out there who want to see the cheerleaders and the dancers. I mean, this day and age, the way that the dancers have taken off, people don't even watch band videos for the band no more. They simply want to see the dancers. Imagine if you do a show just simply like the Alabama Stingettes. You do the show for the J-Sets. You do a show for the Dancing Dog. Do you know how many views, stuff like that? That's the type of content that we're talking. People want to see that. That's what they're watching.
Perry,
go on YouTube if you don't believe me. It's getting hundreds of thousands of views. What worked 10, 15 years ago, how long you think that's going to last? And why do you get nervous to switch up?
I think the thing that bothers me is you're always behind the 8 ball when you work like that, right? Because as everybody else is leading the pack and doing something different, you're just straggling behind, picking up the crumbs that were left behind and surviving off that. I'll say this. What bothers me is this, and the commissioner says it all the time, and it really irks my nerves when he says, you know, he made a post about something about like the Power 4 schools really like that he opted in his whole conference, and how did you do that? There is not one P4 conference that is looking at the SWAC and saying, "Oh, I really love what you're doing down there." That's not happening. And what's even worse to me is that the MEAC and the SWAC are so connected, so intertwined, but they don't move like that. Like the Big Ten and the SEC are like, listen, guys, how we gonna make this thing work for us? We the big dogs. Let's make this thing work for us. And everybody else, they get in where they fit in. And to me, that's the mindset that HBCU should be when it comes to FCS football. Hey, listen, how can we make our product better? We lead in attendance. We get the most fans. We got viewers. We do this. We got crazy attendance. How do we grow our product? Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. How do we grow our product and our brand the right way in partnership or understanding one another? Because
maximizing what you have in front of you. Because the first thing people always say, well, you want to compare to the other FCS conference. Well, obviously we have something that they don't. It shouldn't even be close for who we are, not the brand. Because of course, we're not talking about, obviously, whatever it is that people like about our athletics isn't always the brand of what you're going to get on the court, the diamond, or the football field.
Yeah.
There seems to be something more special about it. And let's be honest, it's really football. It falls off drastically once you get past football. Next up is basketball. And after basketball, what? A little baseball? Yeah. How many people in here ever been to a SWAC baseball tournament?
I went when it went to Georgia Tech. For
the vast majority, just like I saw somebody say, well, all the people I know got gas. So ain't nobody talking about who you know. It goes beyond you. It's the grand scheme. Does that make sense?
But that's
because you make it minute to think about you and your friends. Like, okay, how many people you know? 20 people? And we're talking about millions of people.
But that's the mindset that walks into the SWAC offices and these HBCU conferences, and they think so small. Because to me, I look at it like this. This is I know a lot of you, and Perry, give me some time to cook on this one, because I really want to understand what these apps really mean and how this stuff works, because it's not very high level thinking, but it's just a high level process, right? What happens is this: when you go into these apps and you do these certain type of things, the reason the SEC network and that stuff works is because ESPN is in partnership. That, like the Big Ten, Fox, the Big Ten and the Fox, they're partial owners in the Big Ten network, right? So they have an investment in it working. The SEC network and ESPN have an investment in it working, right? So there are certain things that happen. Now, this is the kicker, and what I want people to understand. The only reason the SWAC TV is able to do what it does, and this one I'm asking for some grace because I'm prophesying. I'm kind of thinking outside the box. I'm thinking further than what the actual proof is because HBCU Go gave them the A-OK, right? Because HBCU Go is pretty much saying, hey, we can't show all that stuff, even though we own it, because they own it. I can bring up the article. They paid for all the media rights, pay-per-view, video on demand, they own it, flat out. So the SWAC and the HBCU Go had to make an arrangement to say, hey, I know you have our media rights. Hey, whatever games you don't show, can we keep them? Can we do this? Can we do that? Right? And that's where they're at with that right now. That's why you see the HBCU Go schedule the way that it is, because, again, they have a higher production cost because they're not just like ESPN where you just shoot the feed to ESPN and they shoot the game off, right? That's why you be like, why the scoreboard bad and why this and why the graphics? It's because they're just sending the feed to ESPN and ESPN shoots it out. The thing for me is this. I want to be very clear. I don't think there is going to be any money in this. And when I mean money, I'm talking about like media money, like true media dollars, right? To where you're like, man, Scotty, we're getting $3 million to school. Ain't happening. Ain't happening. I'm telling you that right now. It's not happening. But what this app will allow, what I've been saying for the last 3 years, it will allow the SWAC to track its own analytics. That is the biggest part of this. I've been in ad meetings where they're saying, how many device IDs do you have coming through? How many? Give me the timestamps. Give me the IP addresses. How many people are, coming through your app? And the more you do that, the more the SWAC can get the analytics to then take to advertisers and say, hey, listen, we do $5 million in a month. We do $6 million in a month. We do $8 million in a month. And now the advertiser's like, oh, okay. That's how this thing makes money. But just based off what it is right here, right now, that's why I said Deion was so important. Because what Deion would have done is Deion would have shot your analytics through the roof. All the viewership that ESPN was getting when they got the bump in subscriber pay and all that, because that's the only way you could watch SWAC games was on ESPN Plus. That's the only way you could watch Deion was on ESPN Plus. That's why their subscriptions went through the roof. That was the same play the SWAC should have done with Hugh Jackson and Deion Sanders. But that play is done. So now you're asking the commissioner and his people to market when they've never been good at it. They've never been good at it. Even when Deion was here, they never were good at it. Deion did all the marketing. Jackson State did all the marketing. Bucky did all your marketing for you. SWAC wasn't doing any marketing. It was the headlines. Huh? Barstool was doing the marketing. It was Eddie Robinson Jr. with the he ain't SWAC, I'm SWAC that blew up. You're asking people to do things they've never been good at. That's why I feel the way I feel about the SWAC TV app. That I'm just I'm a little shaky.
Nonetheless, I think you and I can appreciate that at least it's a start. I just think although it's a start, maybe too much was said and not enough backing it up, because for me, I would have just been okay with him saying SWAC TV, this is now a platform all of our games and everything is going to be on. Like, finally, we got at least something I can reference if I want to go find something out the SWAC, right?
Yeah.
Now, aside from that, once again, play the video again if you can. What was all the stuff he started naming?
Gotcha.
We've embraced it, and we're going to continue to usher in more and more innovation and more technology. Tolly, we're going to do some pregame shows. We're going to have crews out at games, and we're going to set up, and then we're going to do a whip around. We're going to do specials. We're going to do features. All of this is going to grow. Part of our strategic plan is we're going to have a studio show where we come back into halftime and we'll go there. We're going to have the coordinative officials in that studio doing the officiating, as you see with the NFL and the NBA and the SEC, where he's now going to be able to communicate in real time with every game at the same time. They do it now, but he's at another site on the phone. We're going to have all of that set up. Again, we're going to be first class in everything we do. And again, another opportunity for SWAC TV to usher in that ability for us to enhance not only the viewership, the exposure, but even our officiating.
But can I say something real quick though, P? How can you usher in something new when it's already been done? Like, that's the part I'm like you're not reinventing the wheel. You're just 5 years behind everybody else who's already been doing it. So instead of you saying, because again, you should have did this during Dion. Okay, year one you missed out. That's year two. I don't care what you had to do. You had to drop that on media day. Had to. I don't give a damn if the app was like stuttering. Like, you got to give me something. Because again, what Dion does is like for my platform, right? Dion brought people to watch me, and then after Dion leaves, it's their choice to continue to still watch me, but they know about me. That's half the battle is you know about me. Now, whether you choose to watch it or not.
People didn't survive when Dion left.
Because again, it is your job to keep that audience. It's your job to keep, and that's my thing is like, you're asking the SWAC to do a lot. You're asking the SWAC to gather new viewers and then keep new viewers. Well, they've had a problem gathering new viewers and marketing to new viewers. I've been preaching about pregame shows and game day shows for 3 years. Coaches shows, been preaching about that. But again, it's everything is done in such a lazy fashion that it's just like, do you really believe in what you're talking about to really put the money? Because that's what it's going to cost. It's going to cost you something. You got to put the money behind it and to put the effort. And again, who is your director of programming and who is the content? And again, I'm going to say this, and I mean this, and I don't want people to feel like, oh, Scott, listen, I have no ill will with the commissioner. Do I agree with him? No. Do I always agree with him? No. I think some things he does well, whatever. My issue is this, is that I feel like a lot of stuff is just half done, half baked, half thought out. But again, if you're looking for content and you need content to go on the app, why not reach out to people that are already doing content on YouTube about the SWAC? And that's my pitch. Go ahead, P.
Well, I'm in agreement with you, and I want to hear more about how the students can be a part of this to grow. Once again, that's what I wanted to hear. We're going to use students with some of these games, with some of these shows. We're going to use students running some of these cameras. This is how it's going to work per school. Like, I heard an overview, but I didn't. And the thing about it is, I think that space at SWAC Media Day is so safe. People just so happy to get the information, but then don't ask any questions.
Facts.
The same thing like with the SWAC Classic. He was everywhere. Everybody got it, but then nobody acts like what? Like, and what's wrong with us asking questions? Like, does that scare people? The fact that we question that you tell me the sky is blue and I want to know why the sky is blue. You say, I believe a man walked on the moon, and then people say, well, I don't believe a man walked on the moon. Well, questions have to be asked. I recently heard a question that was kind of, a conspiracy. Did Adolf Hitler really kill himself, or did they do enough to just, after whatever happened, when they say the Russians, the Soviets closed in, he faked his death and went to South America. But nobody has the body. Nobody ever saw the. So it's like you ask questions, because if somebody just tell you something, you'll just take it, right? And you'll just go on and be like, well, I don't know. So-and-so said that. Well, there's nothing wrong with asking questions, I think, in the manner that we do, because at the end of the day, that's how ideas are formed. Any company out there, you put something on the table, and people have to go back and forth to be able to have questions to ask, the what ifs, the whys. If it don't work, if it do work, better explain that to me. Give me an understanding. And I think at the end of the day, that's okay for what we're doing. We don't have to apologize that for anybody because they feel like that may ruffle somebody's feathers. What the thing is, we heard something that we put out there a year ago. And that because we heard something that we put out there a year ago and we see it rolled out now in SWAC TV, Now what I'm hearing is you got me excited because this is what we said needed to be done in the first place. But now that I'm excited, it's like we missing some stuff. Like I hear you. Yeah, I want to buy that car wash up the street, but last I checked, you ain't had no money to buy a washer and dryer in your own house. You want to go from a washer and dryer to a car wash. That makes sense?
Yeah, yeah.
And you telling me all these lavish ideas, man. This car wash, man. We're going to clean cars. You can come get your hair cut up there. We're going to have a beauty shop. You can get your shoes shined. You can get some gas up there. Hey, we're going to have a food truck outside. Like, hey, that sounds good. How you going to get that building? How you going to renovate it? How you know, not only that, how you going to get all the stuff that you need in order to make it successful? Do I have should I not ask those questions? Or should I just be so excited? Or should I be so excited I just roll with what you say, like, hey, that boy gonna get. How many times folks done told you they gonna do something and they did a damn thing, but they got come with promise? It sounds like they can give you the world and the moon if they could, right?
If they could.
Scotty, look, hey, boy, I'm gonna invest this into this right here, boy. I'm gonna put this into that right there. And you sitting back looking like, okay. But then in due time, you like, sounded good. And a lot of people, especially, that's how they get you. They make it sound good. But then over time, you just see, okay, where's the work? And we can't help but ask the questions because before we saw SWAC Football Classic, you telling me Birmingham will tell me anybody that go to that game can keep what you want as long as you buy hotels, you buy gas, you support our local businesses, whatever you make at that game. Don't you think everybody would have jumped on that? That would be. Why did Southern and Bethune-Cookman play in Jacksonville when hell they could have played in Birmingham and kept whatever money that was brought to the table? Every promoter around the country should be like, shit, I'm going to find 2 SWAC schools and I'm going to put that together and have that in Birmingham. But in the case of asking about it, it's wrong. But then when you ask about it, you find out why wasn't it never successful when the city of Birmingham said they was with the SWAC office to make this work. And I thought the schools were on board, but nobody never took the opportunity to play it, considering that it was supposed to be no matter who played. I don't give a damn if you made $200 at the door. Hey, both teams get to split and take that $200 to the house.
Let me say this real quick, Pete. Listen, man, you guys have never done a strategic plan, right? Like, if okay, first of all, a lot of you haven't given a presentation. I get some of y'all have not given a presentation because if you saying it's a phase, that's what you say in the presentation. Hey, we're going to roll this out in phases. Phase 1, we're just focused on the games right now. Next year, the foundation. Next year, phase 2, we're looking to add game day and have a studio and do. That is how you give a presentation. That is how you break down. Again, a lot of you ninjas don't look outside of the SWAC to see what the standard looks like. I dare you to go watch SEC Media Day and how the commissioner breaks down where the SEC is and how they're trying to get it going forward. That is what it looks like. Hey, we're here. We're trying to get here. We're moving in this direction to get here. We in the next 2 or 3 years, we're going to look to see if we get here. Like, that's what a strategic plan looks like. He's saying the words, but he's not breaking it down in a strategic plan because the timeline is not there.
He's not giving us metrics. He's just throwing a lot of ideas at us. And it's like, for the person who's excited, oh, man, that sounds great. But for the people like us who's sitting back, we like, damn, I'm glad you're doing it, but how is this going to work? Because it's like, can you handle all this at one time? Because if you could, you would have rolled a lot of this out right here at Media Day.
Right here on the Media Day.
Because you've been working on it 3 years. We ready to release these shows. This is our programming, basically.
This is our programming base.
This is programming. This is the shows. This is who's working on it.
Even if you don't have the talent, you could have the show titles of, hey, we got this coming down the pipeline. Be on the lookout for this. Mid-season we'll be looking to drop this. That's what it looks like. And what's so sickening, and I say it every time I get on this freaking platform, is treat the SWAC like you would treat your job. You would not have an employee come up to you and tell you what the commissioner just told you without metrics and dates and times. When do you see this? When do you foresee this happening? When do you foresee this going down? Give me a 90-day window. Give me a 60-day window. Why do you guys give this guy, and this is the part that makes me so irate, you guys give him a, oh man, just let it play out. But you wouldn't do that to your employee. You're talking about a commissioner of a conference making over $300,000. He is a C-suite executive. And you're telling me that he cannot present himself in a fashion to lay out the landscape of what a phased plan of SWAC TV looks like. You're got it. I'm sick and tired of people making excuses for this man. Like, he's not making $80,000. He's not making entry-level money. He's making $300,000, and you guys let him slide every single time with no accountability to say, hey, what is this going to look like? How is this going to benefit our schools? Where do you see the money? How do you see, what is the revenue base look like? Because don't you do projections? If I'm building an app, shouldn't I have a projection of the cost analysis of, hey, I paid this, I'm looking to make this. I'm trying to 5x my money, 3x my money, 6x my money.
You know something else? SWAC TV should be played at every SWAC school. It should be in the union on TV. Come on, man. There's so many other ways we just missed here in which, hey, we got a partnership. Every school in the conference is going to have this plan in their union. They're going to have this plan in the building. If they got their own cable or got their own channel on campus, because most schools have their own channel, hey, it's going to be played on it like, hey, we're going to roll this out every alumni base. Like, the schools themselves, athletic departments didn't even pub this like it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
This should have been a broad, if you come together, it's called SWAC TV. It's 12 schools in the SWAC, stretching from Texas to Florida. This should have been pushed. When this dropped, every school should have said, this is how we take part into SWAC TV. It should have been massive how this was pushed and how it's going to help the students, the institutions. It's going to be played at on campus. It was just like, this is just something else to do. Everybody don't seem to be bought into it the same. And that's what I go back when you asked was out of commission. At some point, we got to have this idea how we work together. It's like, hey, we're going to do it this way over here. We'll do it this way. Why aren't we doing it the same way together?
That's a great point, JT. We still working in silos. That's a great show, by the way. If I don't know if anybody's seen that on Apple TV, Silos is actually a really great show. Final points, Perry, before we get up out of here, man. I know we ran late.
Yeah, we did. But, at the end of the day, man, I'm glad to be back. It's almost football season. We almost here, man. I'm glad to be back on here with you, man. It's been a while since we've done this. And here we are. And I want everybody to understand, I am excited that SWAC TV is getting off the ground.
Yeah.
I am. At the end of the day, this is what we talked about. Do you think we hate because they finally do it? We don't give ideas for them to finally do it and then be like, well, we don't want them to do it now. I am ecstatic about SWAC TV. I just want to see what direction it's going to go. And do you got people in this space all around you? Do we use them? Do you use that? Do you go to the bench for the starter and act like you ain't never got no backups? Some point you got to use the whole team, right? Starters get gas. Your backup is just as good as your starter, correct?
That's what they say.
It takes a collective of teams, and I'm saying that because there's 12 member institutions in this conference. It's thousands of people at each one of these schools where we can all work together. And at the end of the day, I want to see it be successful. I hope and pray that it is successful. If there's a way we can even work on it and work together with it, I mean, why not? But at the end of the day, I just think people out there, stop getting your panties in the wad because somebody has a question and it questions the status quo. It goes against somebody that you feel shouldn't be questioned, or oh, you're gonna hurt their feelings, or you shouldn't be asking that. Who are you to ask that? Why would you ask that? Get that out your mind, because at the end of the day, if that's the mindset we're taking, HBCUs then must not be that innovative. The SWAC must not be that innovative. The Black community must not be that innovative if it's always got to be some way because somebody said it, and we supposed to believe it because that's somebody said it, without having honest conversation. Anybody that knows the scientific method, you start with a hypothesis. Then you conduct the experiment. You read and analyze your data. Then you look at your data. You come together and you form your conclusion. Now, when you form your conclusion, you look at the results. Did the results match the hypothesis? The hypothesis is what I thought, but the results gave you exactly what it was.
Yeah.
In the midst of that, you have to have questions, because guess what? You got to run different tests. Different tests are going to bring up questions. Well, how did it fail here? What made it work here? That's how we got to look at it. You said that to everybody doing presentations and analyzing things. That's how we got to look at this. What are we analyzing? We're forming a hypothesis on maybe what it could and maybe what it should look like. But at the end of the day, we got to do the research. We got to ask the questions, and then we got to get the results. And then when we get the conclusions and present the results, did it go the way that we said it was going to go? And I think when we look at that, that's what came down to the SWAC Football Classic. It didn't go the way it was supposed to go. So now you're upset because somebody asked those questions, and then the questions turned out to not go the way that you thought it was supposed to go in your hypothesis. Now you mad, but it just didn't work out. Accept that. Move on. Learn from that. And I think at the end of the day, we got to be able to be understanding of that when it comes to constructively criticizing our administration, our alumni, when it comes to our athletics, and as well as all the way to the SWAC commission and anything else that involve our schools. Don't be afraid. As the great Bob Marley said, get up, stand up for your rights. You got a right to ask a question.
That's fair.
And you got a right to challenge anything that you want. Do that. Don't be afraid, because when you're scared, people will diminish you, and you will never have a voice, and you'll let people run all over you and do whatever they want. And for us, clearly, you see Scotty and I don't operate that way. We ask questions. You say something and don't make, we're going to ask you a million questions. What's wrong? Help me understand. Because clearly I'm curious. And because I'm curious, I want to know so I can better see how can I help assist and facilitate whatever idea it is that you have. Because at the end of the day, Scotty, they can call you a hater all you want. At the end of the day, I think you really do want best for the SWAC. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't dare put out an idea and tell them. Would you?
No.
All right.
That wouldn't make much sense. And man, some solid points, Perry. Let me say this. What my issue only becomes this is if you lay out a plan really well, if you don't have the questions, what a well-established plan, what it might lack in questions, you see it as I can't wait to see what that looks like, right? Because a lot of the questions you would want to ask, because it's so convoluted or it's just left to the imagination. If you roll it out in the right way, a lot of me and Perry get on here and say, man, I like what he was talking about. Let's see how it rolls. Like, let's see what he does with it. Because again, the proof is going to be in the pudding. Now, again, is the commissioner going to get back in front of you and tell you if it failed or not? No. There's no accountability for that. Is he going to get out there and say how much money he'd raise for advertising? No. There's no accountability for that. While SEC and Big Ten will tell you all day how much money they're getting for their media rights, it's a secret in the SWAC.
Boy, don't ask nobody. I mean, they'll be talking smooth to you. Yeah, man, you know it's this, and then you bring that up, boy, they'll go around. It's like they lost all their senses. You can't make sense out of nobody.
Now, this is the part to me that is funny to me. People will be in my chat, in my inbox, and talking about, well, Scotty, we got the best deal possible. So why don't you want to talk about it? If you're telling me that you got the best media rights deal in all of FCS, then why wouldn't you want to brag about that? You brag about attendance. You brag about championships. You brag about being this and being the SWAC conference and being that. So why would you not want to brag about being a top level FCS conference with top level media dollars? That just doesn't make any sense to me, because you brag about everything else, but you won't brag about that which everybody cares about, which is how much money are you making off your media rights. So again, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to leave it at this. I want the SWAC TV to work. I think it has a lot of potential, but I think it has potential to go both ways. It could become HBCU Go Part 2, or you can make it into a true Hulu and Netflix to where you have programming and documentaries and shows and short stories and real live interviews and all those history lessons. Like, you could really, really, really dive deep, because the SWAC TV name is so broad that as long as it has something to do with the SWAC, that's all that matters. It's SWAC TV, right? It could be anything. It could be alums who have great jobs or have great businesses that you want to do a short story on. It could be multitudes of things that promote how well the SWAC is, right? First woman to do this, first male to do this, first person to do this, first person to attend this, history lessons on each school. You could do all that within SWAC TV. That's why it works the way it works. But again, is that the vision? Are people seeing that as the vision, or are people just so stuck on live sports that they don't get past it? Because I'm telling you, and I promise you this, if it's only for live sports, it will not work, because people are going to treat it just like HBCU Go. When football season is here, they watch. When football season is done, they don't watch. And you can say, oh, Scotty, I'll watch basketball. Yeah, not to the extent of what football is. You won't watch baseball to the extent of football. There's no chat.
And we'll do a show, baseball and basketball, and see what the views like compared to football.
Again, right? So it's not like there's a chat element inside of this app to where you're building a community to where you feel like you're meeting people and getting in camaraderie and all. It's not that. So again, you're strictly doing it as a Netflix and Hulu style. So you have to have the content to back it up. It can't just be the same old games all the time. And why? Oh, we got this. I'm telling you. Listen, I'm telling you. So, but again, I hope it works. I truly hope they find the right talent to push these contents. It comes down to really having good programming and good content to push this thing to the next level, so people want to come back and watch it and get people hooked into it. But other than that, man, that's it, man. And I hope Dr. Charles gets it going.
I think it's gonna be nothing more than Alex Hines' YouTube channel.
Shout out to Alex.
Yeah. Hey, Alex, hey, listen, bro. I look at your channel all the time. That's why I'm a fan of your. If anybody, they should have called Alex Hines and said, hey, how do we even remotely start to get this going? Like, hey, I mean, he thought about this before anybody. But, I think that's all it's going to be, Scotty, in my opinion, to start off with. And that's okay if that's what it is. I think it's just going to be just games dropped in there, just a plethora of games. And you can just go back at it. It's going to be an archive basis. All it's going to be, in my opinion. It's just archive of, you want to go back and watch the cross country SWAC championship. You want to go back and watch the any of the baseball tournament game. I think that's all it's going to be, basically, in my opinion. For now, it's just going to be,
It's a glorified ESPN Classic.
That's all it is. SWAC Classic TV. Of the past, current, and that's it. They're going to get their games from ESPN and HBCU Go TV, and when those games are over on Sunday or Monday, they're going to probably be uploaded to SWAC TV so you can go back and watch it on demand. And if that's a start, then let's do that, and I'm okay with that. At least now we got somebody can go back and under one umbrella and watch it.
Facts, and not jump around here, there, and everywhere.
How does this then? I know we about to get out of here, but how does this then work for the paywalls that the schools already have?
Ooh. See, now you're getting now you're diving deep, because again, if the games that are not supposed to be, because remember, if it's not broadcast on SWAC TV, you can still control that game, right? The school can still control that game. But if SWAC TV has it and it gets put behind SWAC TV, which is a free entity, then the Hornet, that Jack State Sports Network, and that, because again, okay, let me break this down to you guys in the simpler terms. All those networks become the Longhorn Network. And let me explain this real quick. What happens is this. The Longhorn Network, when they were with the Big 12, they couldn't play the game, right? ESPN owned the games. What they would do is build everything ancillary around the games, the talk shows, the insider, the behind the scenes. So a lot of your sports and the Jack State Sports Network, the Southern Sports Network, the Alabama Hornet Network, that stuff now has to become all behind the scenes stuff. It has to all become all behind the scenes of the game and this and that, because they can't show the game, because why? It's on SWAC TV. But then you got to talk about, and what Perry is alluding to is, how are they, because they're missing out on money now. Money that would have went directly to Jackson or to Alabama State or to Southern or to Alabama A&M is now going to SWAC TV with no guarantee of income.
Because if it's that game that they got on SWAC TV, they said I can just go to the app and watch this game. But Southern saying, no, I need $13.99 to watch it on Jaguar Sports Network, for this game. How does that work? When damn near every game at this point, at some point, is either on SWAC TV, HBCU Go TV, or is on ESPN.
They can't do it because I'm telling you right now, unless SWAC is this, what happened, this is how it works. Unless SWAC TV has grabbed that game, they do not control it anymore. They don't control it. So if the SWAC doesn't have it, then you control it. You can do whatever you want. Put it behind a paywall. Do whatever you want. But if the SWAC TV has it, okay, if the SWAC TV has it, they will play it and you will lose out on money. Now, again, what the commissioner's trying to do is it's like, hey, we are better together than apart. But again, how much are you getting? It's okay if you're telling me you're getting $100,000 for week 1 for advertising, because insertion. If anybody doesn't know, okay, let me break this down. I'm sorry, Perry. We're gonna go a little bit longer. Right?
My bad for asking the question.
No, you good. You good. Let me break this down, because a lot of people think I don't know what I'm talking about when I'm breaking. Insertion orders have a campaign, right? So if you're in advertising, they do campaign weeks, 5 weeks, 4 weeks. So the ad guy will come to you and say, hey, I'll give you $200,000 for 5 weeks of advertising. Now, mind you, remember, the SWAC is the mom. It got 12 kids. You split $200,000 12 ways is not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money. Right? So again, that's how you got to break this thing down when it comes to advertising. One, how much are they getting? And remember, the SWAC still takes 30 or 40% of it. So, and they say they give it back to the conference, but who knows? You got to pay commission, all those salaries and all that type of stuff. But so that's how it works. So if, let's say, Walgreens comes up to the SWAC and says, hey, we want to do an insertion order for $500,000 for 10 weeks, right? But they want 8 million impressions or 10 million impressions or 15 million impressions. Mind you, you have to hit those impressions to get the money. So it works in tandem. Like, that's how that stuff works. So again, your money is based off the impressions and views and all that type of stuff. So if they get your analytics and they see you're doing 2 million, well, that insertion order went from 500,000 to now it went to 100,000. Or 75,000 because you're only doing 1 million impressions when the SEC network is doing 30 million impressions and the Big Ten network is doing 50 million. You see what I'm saying? I just need you guys to understand the game that is being played here, and the SWAC is behind the 8 ball. That's why I said it was better for you to make this app paid, because at least it's recurring revenue. You know what you're going to get month in and month out, because if I sign up, if in the first week that I get it, 1,000 people sign up for $19.99, what's that? $19,000 a month. 1,000 people times $19.99. That's $20,000 a month. That's not a lot of money, but you can build on top of it, right?
Well,
it's not
2,000 times 12.
Let me see.
It's 12 months in a year.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's 19,000 times 12, 228,000, right? So what you possibly made in a month, if you get it, you make in a year, but it's a guaranteed revenue stream that you can continue to build. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to stack money because, again, you can still sell advertising. You can't have programmatic ads when you're a paid app, but you can still sell advertising spots within the show or within the stream. Or, hey, somebody can come, like, let's say I go to the SWAC and say, hey, I want to sell my ads on Jackson State games because they get the most viewers, or Southern games. So now they're charging me, hey, for every game that you sell, we want 30,000 for the spot, or 15,000 to 20,000 for that spot, right? So it's a very difficult game to play right now because of Trump's complete antithesis of DEI. And the advertising agencies are scared to give money to all black anything because of how Donald Trump is coming down on them. So it's going to be a whirlwind. That's all I'm gonna say. It's going to be a whirlwind. I'm sorry I took it long, but it's going to be a whirlwind.
I'm just curious on how it's going to affect the apps of the schools that already have something in place. Because it's like, let's take the SEC real quick. SEC network is free.
Yeah.
But the schools like LSU it's like Tiger something where it's their own thing. You're not going to watch the game on their own thing. You're going to get all the behind the scenes stuff on there. Directly from LSU, the coaches behind the scenes, meaning the locker rooms.
Don't you have to pay for the SEC network because it comes in a package?
Well, I mean, if it's in cable.
Yeah, like you got to pay for that.
Well, what I'm saying is, in the grand scheme of stuff, you still able to get it. If you get an HBCU Go and ESPN, you paying for that too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you still got to, yeah.
I mean, you're still paying for it because it falls under a network deal.
Yeah.
But the individual schools, like, okay, let's take the Jaguar Sports Network for Southern. Mm-hmm. They're not selling you content of behind the scenes stuff. They're selling you the game. Well, if SWAC TV is going to be showing the games along with HBCU Go and ESPN, you taking away their market. Now they have to rethink, okay, what is it that we're trying to sell now? We can't no longer sell the game that's going to be put out there. We got to be able to sell the content of behind the scene. That's what I'm saying, like what LSU and the SEC schools do.
Yeah,
they're going to have their own in-house stuff that they're trying to sell behind a paywall that's not going to give you the game itself. It's going to give you the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah. And that's
what these schools going to have to do.
They're going to have to pivot. And that's now, Perry, going back to your point, yeah, people complaining about $19.99. Are people going to pay $13 a month to watch the Insight when you can go on YouTube and watch somebody for free? Or you can, I'm not saying people don't want to support their school, but the game was the bulk of what people wanted to watch. So if you take that away from the paywall, now you got to figure out, do I have enough interesting content to get people to stay to watch behind the scenes stuff?
For us that work, no, not the behind the scenes stuff. Band at some point going to have to be put behind the paywall. People don't want to hear that, but band get more views than the football.
You're right. Consistent.
The dancers and band is the golden child for the SWAC. Football and our athletics are not. That's a start, but the band gets the views. The band is what, at some point, once again, it's outside the box. People don't understand when you start to think what works, but how do you channel all this? Because think about all the media that they allow into a football game. I mean, even Jackson State last year started charging band media to come in and record. Mm-hmm. There's a reason you charging band media. You know why? Because they're making money off your brand.
Facts.
They're coming in, recording your brand and putting it on their YouTube and on their social media and making whatever money that they're making.
Yeah.
But it's your content that you don't even know how to stream to make for yourself. And you got 12 schools with 12 bands who do fifth quarters, 0 quarters, and halftimes, and you ain't even learned how to channel that to keep it for yourself. That money's walking out the door because that person paid $200 to come into this game to record it, and they may make more than $200 up, but that's what you willing to give it away for. When you can contain that, we ain't no longer doing no outside media. You either here to record the football or not. We're trapping the band stuff within ourselves because we're going to put that behind our paywall.
Well, now you got to think about it like this. Well, like for FAMU, they have that Rattler Plus app, right? Well, now you just got a bill. Like now you just got a bill. Like if you're, but FAMU has really been good about putting the content out, and I know Jackson does well. But again, is it enough to sustain? Like that's the whole thing. Like yeah, some alums are just going to pay for it just to support the school, but at the
It
end of the
has to be strategic. Back to what you said,
it
it
has,
has to be brought. Like the SWAC commissioner needs to be at everybody's national alumni convention.
yeah,
He needs to be there talking to whoever's the national alumni president, and talking to whoever's how they're going to put that information out to every chapter across the country, because you have to stand on that. It don't just work talking to the athletic department, the athletic director, and the presidents. It has to go above and beyond. I have to talk directly to the alums themselves, because at the end of the day, regardless of the students and administrators, it's the alums that's really making this thing roll, isn't it? So if you want to do it on that scale, I got to be at every national convention this year from every school, giving this conversation to their alumni base and to their alumni presidents and to executive directors and whoever else. I got to tap into the alumni, because a lot of these schools, as we see already, they don't even have the cohesiveness within their own circle between athletics, administration, and alumni. Already do it. It's broken. So how do I supposed to give you information? You leave and go back to your school, and it's already broken around your school, and we're looking to be successful together when you ain't even got your own house in order in terms of how you communicate and work with each other.
yeah. I absolutely love this Miss Faye with the pay-per-view for the Battle of the Bands. I think that would be an absolutely genius move. But again, I love my boy Smash. I love Showtime. You know, you can't have Showtime, showing it live on YouTube while you try to have people paper. You just can't. You get something's gotta you gotta make it work for to make it make sense. But it would be a great idea. Last thing before we get up out of here. Listen, I'm going to say this and I'm gonna keep saying this. I think Apple is the way to go. I think Apple TV is the way to go when it comes to sports, and this is why I tell you that. All they have is MLB and WNBA. I think they got some WNBA stuff. Apple is an untapped market, and it has a very, very clean system. I mean, the look is clean. I love Apple TV. That to me is where, if I was a SWAC commissioner, somebody asked me, what would I do? If I was a SWAC commissioner, I would be beating down Apple's door to get into that product because it is so seamless. I don't have a lot of competition. It's just MLB, a little WNBA, got some soccer or whatever. It's not a lot of competition, and it's a growing platform. Yeah, I know people are like, it's Apple though, but it's still growing in the sense of competing with the Hulus and Netflix and the Primes. I would be all in on Apple. That's just me personally, but
And like somebody just said in the comment, you talking about, Smash and everybody else. Well, at the end of the day, they trying to make money.
yeah,
Why not hire them and bring them in to do the shit?
pay
You
for
tell
them
me
to do it.
that's how you resolve that. Then they doing this, they trying to make money off of it. Well, give them some money. And now you got quality people running it who understands it, who's in the realm. It ain't like you asking somebody at ESPN to do it and they don't know bands. They don't know how to record and get the people to look what the site for what they look. You
Yeah,
got these guys, the Killer Kells, the Showtimes, and all and Smash and everybody else. Once again, it's all about once you start to peel back the layers and ask the questions, what are we really doing? And that's no problem to do that.
yeah,
Because we understand for the people that's connected, we watching the content creators and who out there doing this and doing that and who've been doing it for a while. Bring those people in to create the best value that you can get instead of you trying to figure it out on your own and go. You got folks who already know it, that if you're willing to hand them a few dollars, once again, stop trying to get everybody to do something for free. If you're willing to hand them a few dollars, I'm sure Smash wouldn't have no problem coming to do some work with the SWAC office.
absolutely. And I think and then again, you're using you're using Smash to teach the interns to keep that train, right? You get the experts to come in, right? You get me and you get a Fox News, right? You get all these people to come in to get the interns in a direction that's going the right way so they can then layer that information and send it back. So you don't have to need us for 5 or 10 years. You use us for 2 to 3 years to stand the program up, and then you let the interns run it themselves, and it's a passing along of the information. So It said it almost happened. Let me see. It said it almost happened, but it wasn't enough money. Proposed Pac-12 deal with Apple TV paid $23 million per school with subscription-based upside. Can we get that? Can we get that, P? I'd have been all. I'm telling you, I'd have been all in on Apple. I'd have been all in. I would have been absolutely all in. Man, P, listen, bro, this was a great show.
Let me get in my bag a little bit, just showing what this outspoken really about to be like. Outspoken, this is more than conjecture. These days they laying people off. So glad that we got our own. Hunger insatiable, made for you if you say you objective. Hard truth offering, no offense, just perspective. Come get your dosage and go with me. We spit it like poetry.